Welcome to Should You Play, the series where I break down a role-playing game that you might not be familiar with using 5 categories to see if it's something you and your friends might be interested in checking out. Today we'll be looking at Bunkers and Badasses, also known as the Borderlands role-playing game. As always, we'll start with the pitch. The pitch for Bunkers and Badasses is pretty simple. It's a tabletop RPG version of the Borderlands video games. It's sort of like D&D with guns. Lots and lots of guns. Genre and setting. Bunkers and Badasses takes place in the fantasy world of Pandora. Not the Mad Max inspired Pandora from the first couple video games, but Pandora spelled with an apostrophe so you know it's fantasy. This Pandora has elves and wizards and more fantasy cliches than you can shake a Hyperion wand at. And although this isn't the world featured in the main Borderlands video games, this is the world featured in Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keep and Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. That said, with this rule set, there is nothing preventing you and your friends from playing the game in the standard Borderlands universe, but be aware that all of the enemies provided in this set are targeted towards the fantasy setting. And I should probably say something here about the tone of the game. It is a spot-on reflection of the video games, so if you're familiar with those, then you know what you're getting into. If not, then you may be in for a surprise, as this game is just plain wacky. The core rulebook is written by Anthony Birch, who is also the head writer for the Borderlands games, and the RPG has his sense of humor throughout it. Furthermore, 2 of the 3 adventures contained in the core rulebook are written from the perspective of Tiny Tina, and her view of the world is wonderfully warped. I cannot say this loudly enough, this is not a game to be taken seriously. It's an acquired taste, but one that my friends and I have a lot of fun with. Core mechanics. Bunkers and Badasses uses a standard set of role-playing dice from D4s to D20s, but has 3 special mechanics: gun cards, badass moves, and mayhem. To replicate the fast-paced, chaotic, and often butts-out insane combat from the video games, Bunkers and Badasses uses simple gun cards. For example, here is the gun card for a rare shotgun named Diplomacy Check. If Gage was to attack a Skelly Man with this, she'd roll 1d20, add her accuracy bonus, and then consult the chart. If her total is between 2 and 7, she deals 1 die of damage, or 1d8 since this shotgun deals d8 damage per hit. If she rolls between 8 and 15, she deals 2d8 damage, and if she rolls 16 or higher, she scores 1 hit and 1 critical hit. Critical hits are always d12s of damage, so in this case, Gage would deal 1d8 plus 1d12 base damage plus any additional modifiers such as those listed below, like +4 to damage. This shotgun is also prone to overheating, so Gage would suffer 1d8 damage when she reloads the weapon. You may also notice that you will always deal damage when using this gun unless you roll a natural 1, and that's typical for this game. Missing is not fun, so they designed the game to be less about whether you hit or miss and more to do with how many times you hit. And as far as combat goes, that's pretty much it. The player rolls their d20, adds their accuracy modifier, and compares that total to the chart on the gun card for the gun that they're using. Enemies do not have armor classes or reflex saves or other defenses. It's all based on what the player rolls and what their gun card says. It is a system that is meant to be very quick at the game table. But that said, players do have their own defense scores that are subtracted from the enemy rolls when they're attacked. The second core mechanic is being a badass. Literally, characters have badass ranks, earn badass tokens, and can pull off badass moves. The easiest way I can describe a badass move is like this. Have you ever been playing Dungeons & Dragons or Pathfinder and dreamt up some incredibly awesome move, but couldn't do it because you didn't have enough actions or the rules literally would not allow it? Well, in Bunkers and Badasses, that's when you declare that you're taking a badass move. A badass move is basically chaining together a series of actions that normally could not be taken in a single round. After the badass move is declared, the Bunker Master, or BM, sets a DC and the player rolls the badass die, which is a special D20 that has 3 20s and 3 1s. If they beat the DC, then they get to play out this chain of awesomeness. So with a successful badass move, a player might shoot one enemy, then toss a grenade while mid-air jumping between 2 pillars, then jump from that second pillar into a dragon's mouth, fire their shotgun down his throat, and then jump backwards out of the dragon's mouth towards a pool of water below them, all while giving the dragon the finger. The only limits to badass moves are imagination and the DC that is set by the Bunker Master. And the third core mechanic is mayhem. This is a universe that hates order and calmness on a cosmic level. As such, certain actions within the game, usually as a consequence of a player action, mayhem tokens will be awarded to the BM, which they can then spend to create chaos. For example, the BM can spend these points to summon badass enemies or trigger a monster's special ability. Character creation and advancement. Character creation is quick and easy. First, you select one of 4 archetypes. Each archetype sets the foundation for what your character's primary role in the party will be. Dead Eyes are extremely accurate, Elementalists receive a bonus to elemental damage and specialize in using their action skill, Enforcers prioritize damage over accuracy, and Guardians fill the tank and team support roles. After that, you select one of 9 classes, and each class has its own special action skill that sets it apart from the other classes. These classes are all based on the playable characters from Borderlands 1 and Borderlands 2. Assassins can create a holographic decoy to distract enemies while they turn invisible, Berserkers can tear enemies apart with their bare hands, Commandos deploy turrets to fight with them, Gunzerkers can wield 2 guns at once, and that's any 2 guns including 2 rocket launchers. Hunters have bird companions, Necromancers have robot companions, Psychos are melee fighters, Soldiers are like Commandos in that they deploy turrets, but the Soldier's turret fills more of a support role by healing close allies, and there are 2 types of Sirens, which are sort of like Borderlands' version of a wizard. The Light Walk Sirens become invisible and cause an explosion around them when they become visible again, and Phase Lock Sirens can trap enemies in a sphere of energy. Any of the 4 archetypes can be combined with any of the 9 classes to make for some very interesting combinations. Each archetype and class also provides the character with a skill tree from which the player can choose a new skill when leveling up. Again, this will feel very familiar to those who have played the Borderlands video games. Price and availability. Bunkers and Badasses is available through the Nerdvana Games website. The core rulebook is $59.99 and includes all of the rules you need to create a character and play, and also comes with 3 complete adventures. Marcus's Quest for the Wizard's Wand is a one-shot tutorial. Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keep is a complete adventure that retells the events of the DLC of the same name, and Butt Stallion's Honey Heist is a sequel adventure written from the perspective of Tiny Tina. There is also a deluxe version available for $120. The deluxe set includes the core rulebook, plus a BM screen, miniatures for all 9 classes, cardboard pawns to be used for enemies, a dry or wet erase game board, a deck of gun cards that cover every gun dropped as loot in the published adventures, and a set of dice including a badass die with 3 20s and 3 1s. So there you have it, a fairly quick breakdown of bunkers and badasses to help you decide if it's worth checking out further. If you have any questions about this game, please leave them in the comments. Also, if you've played bunkers and badasses before, please share your thoughts about it in the comments as well. And as always, I want to take a brief moment to say thank you to everyone out there who supports me, whether that's by leaving your comments and suggestions, clicking the like button, buying a super thanks, subscribing to the channel, subscribing to the Patreon. Thank you for everything you do to support me. And with that, thanks for watching, take care, and happy gaming.